where maybe you first pick the Hecarim, but if you give the Hecarim up, Shai will happily take that in the first round of the draft. Azir.
Azir ban against Coco. I mean, again, Coco did play really well, and they are kind of eliminating things that make the Hecarim hard to play, so maybe they are planning on first picking it.
I don't know.
I'd be surprised.
I don't think. Coco played pretty well, but I don't know if that's exactly ban-worthy. You have to be concerned about the Urgot. There's a possibility that Kalista and Urgot are both left up in this game, in which case, where do you go? Now it's the LeBlanc ban. You can't give it to Faker.
It seems like this Azir ban is just kind of a, we didn't plan on playing against this sort of thing, we just don't want to deal with it kind of ban, you know?
Yeah, they dealt with it well when the GE Tigers played it in back-to-back games. Kuro in their last match of the season, and SK Telecom was able to win both of those. So I'm not sure about that ban in particular here.
The decision has come down from Coma.
I would ban
the Azir.
I would ban Urgot. They're going to ban Kalista. Okay, so they don't want to first pick it. They want to first pick Hecarim or Urgot most likely, and they're going to get one of them.
That's a tough choice, too, between those two.
I'd take Urgot.
Urgot handles the Hecarim, whereas Hecarim cannot necessarily handle the Urgot. Yeah. So I see your point there.
Also, just in terms of what we saw Space do with that Urgot last game, was extremely dangerous. And it's going to be Lulu. So they're leaving both of them up so that they get one.
Yeah.
But I do think you take Urgot here. CJ first picked Urgot in the last game. We'll see that same. Or they could take the Hecarim. Man, that would be That would be bold, considering how well Space saved his ultimates.
And I don't know if I'd give them both to CJ.
They're not going to first pick Gnar. That's obviously not something Shai even plays. So.
Well, I don't know if first picking Kennen would be the greatest idea either.
Well, what do you do?
You take the Urgot. That's what you do.
I think you take the Urgot. I agree with you, Dylan. But
yeah.
With the Kalista already banned, you don't have to worry about giving CJ the Kalista Kennen combo.
Exactly, which would make this Kennen first pick even more puzzling, wouldn't it? Uh-oh. Well, looks like they might decide to go through with it anyway. But this is going to give Hecarim... Okay, I was going to say, yeah. All right, there we go.
I was about to be very shocked. I would be very angry if there was a Kennen first pick in this game.
You won't like Monty when he's angry.
I'm very, very angry and confused.
The secret is that he's always angry, though. There we go. Just like in the Avengers, it's true.
So, Nunu. Ambition still hasn't lost with Nunu after that last game.
Yeah.
Has a chance to stretch his unbeaten streak even to 7 games. He wins this one and picks the champion one more time.
Nunu is very understandable, but yeah, that Hecarim I think is definitely going to be the pickup for CJ. Well, maybe Nautilus. Huh.
Even though Thresh is not banned this game, looks like CJ has that priority on Nautilus all the same. We see they will go ahead and lock that in.
Yep. Nautilus locked in for madlife, I would imagine.
It's interesting because Wolf really hasn't been playing a lot of Nautilus. That's that hasn't been a priority for SK Telecom. But so you're not showing a whole lot with the Nautilus either. So
do you take the Nunu away? Looks like they will.
I think you have to. I think you really want to make sure that you get the Nunu and that Ambition has to go onto something that he at least has lost games with.
Now, I would imagine that CJ is going to try to save this mid pick for last, right?
Oh, yeah. Yeah, especially up against Faker.
Yeah.
Sivir falling a little bit further down the draft this time. And it looks like we may just be reversing compositions here to a certain extent. If we have Sivir for Hecarim on CJ and Urgot Nunu on SK Telecom and Gragas as well.
You know, and I'm really not too concerned about Ambition's Gragas at all with the way that he played that against Gnar. He looked so good that I think, you know, Gragas, Nunu for Ambition right now are very interchangeable.
Yeah, I think he did well on both of them, and certainly a better Gragas performer than Tom. But Tom has had good Nunu games, so Nunu Sejuani may be more of Tom's style than this Gragas. So, yeah, this would be pretty much exact opposite compositions, except there's probably going to be a different mid laner from CJ.
Gnar instead of Shyvana up in the top lane. Also, Rocco would certainly be interesting. Yeah, a lot of support players here in Korea do talk about liking Soraka. Gorilla probably the foremost, but
I think Wolf's going to play Alistar. SK Telecom has played Urgot Alistar lanes in the past.
Yep.
And we could see the Anivia. Faker went for that early on in 5.5 and just doing tier. So Seraph's Embrace and Rod of Ages going for an ultra scaling, very slow damage composition. I really hope it's not a Xerath.
Well, I mean, look at the engage from CJ. Like, Xerath is just not going to survive. And Faker is a great Xerath player, but we saw GBM not even be able to handle it. And he's going to try it anyway. Okay.
I really don't like this.
You know, early on this season, we saw a lot of Faker getting picked into an unfavorable Xerath, and it ended very badly for SKT multiple times.
I just see Ziggs as a better option than Xerath right now. He's not immobile. Both are trying to hit the back line with their ults, but the Ziggs is not. You can, with the buffs to Athene's especially, you're not going to run out of that mana. You can do a ton of damage into a team fight. You can burst harder because he doesn't have to sit there. And blind picking the Xerath may be pretty dangerous. And if we have to go for champions that have strong poke, I even think that this AP Kog'Maw is better right now. Of course, we've seen that in NA and in Europe. We have not seen it here in a long time in Korea, certainly not since Luton's Echo was introduced.
You know, after how well Ziggs went for CJ last week, I'm actually really surprised that we're not seeing it on either side in the first two games.
I like both Cog and Ziggs better, but in fact, Coco's going for the Vlad.
Okay, well, again, just more engaged. Like, what is this Xerath supposed to do here?
Still, they're basically, CJ's basically running SKT's composition from last game, except except they have an engaged support instead. So they have the Janna instead, but even so, maybe difficult to get onto SK Telecom with all the zoning and crowd control and the big front line that SKT has. I don't know what to think about this, though.
I mean, if Gnar and Alistar can knock them back, that does give Faker a chance to really do a ton of damage. So we'll see. It could go either way. If anyone's going to make this Xerath work, if it's not GBM, it's going to be Faker.
Well, heavy poke composition. Urgot, Xerath, they will have a pretty nice 2 to 3 item power spike. And again, CJ Entus, they didn't do anything to fix the kind of one wave clear problem that SK Telecom's composition had in the last game with just the Sivir with the static shiv and everyone else being melee range wave clear. Although they won't be so much of a split pushing threat with the Gnar instead of the Shyvana. But still, I think SK Telecom, I don't know why CJ Entus would, after just beating this composition, would then pick it immediately.
It's the moral victory, man. I mean, if you can win with the other team's comp from game one, you really strike a killing blow to their mentality. Here we go, guys. SKT trying to tie it up. Can they do it? Time to get in the game. And it's time, SK Telecom versus CJ Entus.
I'm also having horrible flashbacks of earlier this season when SKT would blind pick the Xerath with Faker, and it just never really worked.
Yeah.
Also, EasyHoon's the better Xerath player on this team.
Yeah. Well, I mean, it would be kind of poetic, wouldn't it, in that the problems that SKT had that plagued them for the better part of the first half of the season came back to end it for them in the very end. It'd be a bit of a tragic tale, but it makes sort of a sad amount of sense, wouldn't it?
Xerath has been so impotent since Cinderhulk was released.
Yeah.
He's been tried a lot by teams like Gnar, and it just hasn't been able to win games. Even when GBM was 5-0-2 on Xerath by the time the mid-game rolled around, he wasn't able to do enough. And if you're looking for that consistent damage, I say go with the Cog, go with the Ziggs. Don't go with the Xerath. I like Ziggs way more. Now, it's also true that Faker was never a great Ziggs player. He actually has a losing record on that champion professionally.
Which is really mind-blowing to think about.
Yeah, there aren't that many champions that Faker has a losing record on professionally, and that is one of them.
Yeah. Well, Faker will need to be at his most fakiest. He's going to need to be Faker. Don't do that. Maybe they can win.
So, Space and madlife.
The other thing, too, is that we've seen SK Telecom come back from being 2 games down many times in high-pressure situations, too. So even if that happens, historically, as an SKT fan, you shouldn't really be terribly worried about that.
Problem with that is that the only player who did that was Faker.
Well, Bengi was part of it, too, if they put him back in.
It's true.
2 out of 5, I guess. MaRin watched a lot of those games.
So no jungle start here. They gave the Gromp over to Ambition. So they're shy, 40% win rate on Hecarim. Now that's deceptive because actually he's been very good on Hecarim. It's just his team wasn't very good when he was playing with Hecarim.
Lately, it's been much better.
Yes.
Yeah. Like if we look at the win rate from the last few weeks, I think it's going to be a very different story.
Now CJ, I think, is going to have a real hard time getting in to the enemy with this Vlad, though. You have that position reverser like we saw. If Bang can match what Space was doing with that ult against Hecarim and against the Vladimir like we saw in the last game, as well as Wolf being able to punt this Vladimir right out of team fights, punt the Hecarim out as well.
Right.
I think they have the tools necessary to replicate a similar team fight performance to what we saw from CJ in the last match. I don't know. I don't know about this.
Well, time will tell.
Ambition going for a red steal early.
Yeah, already moving into the enemy jungle and taking some camps. So, Tom, I think this is smart by CJ. Just continue to pressure this guy's early jungle pathing.
Yeah, Tom actually stole red on the other side too. So both junglers using their lane pressure advantage to the fullest. And of course, the Faker will be able to bully out this Vlad earlier. That is a very good reason for picking up the Xerath. It's very safe to bully the Vlad.
Bang is a bit low. There's a flash slow. Bang flashes as well. Stun onto Wolf. Actually, madlife going back in. Nice pulverize from Wolf, though.
TP.
People getting low. Teleport coming down. Ambition in a lot of trouble. Summoner he'll use. And here comes MaRin. Can he get the kill? No, not quite. Takes a lot of damage. Shy had teleported earlier to get back to lane. He wasn't able to go down, but he's going to get a little bit of time by himself in the top lane.
And MaRin flashed for that as well.
Yeah, he did.
Couldn't quite secure the kill, so CJ Entus able to delay enough to keep Ambition alive. Tom is just going to go ahead and solo the dragon, knowing that his jungling counterpart had to recall. Good timing right there.
Great boomerang blade from Space as well to delay MaRin's recall even farther and just guarantee that dragon.
He's going to lose about a wave of XP right there. Space really can't do much about this.
Well, he's going to try. Tom taking some damage. Wolf coming in as well. Space could be getting himself a bit trapped here. Oh, actually, yep. Tom gets the dragon. Space backing away. And madlife.
This is getting really dicey. Tom actually has to flash over the wall. Space is trapped, though.
Wow, if Space gets double buffs, it would have been huge. But here comes Faker. First blood, meanwhile, goes to Ambition. Faker going after Space. He's got to back off, though.
He has no mana.
Nope.
And he missed his E. So
Tom got really low in the course of all of that as well, too. Meanwhile, Ambition killed Wolf.
Looks like Tom may not have had his consume off cooldown because he waited a really long time to use the smite. And they did force Space over the wall, but couldn't actually complete the kill. We didn't get to see where Wolf went down, really.
Well, in the end, SKT does get that first dragon. CJ gets first blood. Another little attempt on to Bang there. But he'll be safe for now.
Let's take a look at what happened to Wolf up here. Ambition comes. Okay, pretty simple. He was. Everyone else was on the opposite side of the dragon pit by that point, trying to chase down Space.
Yeah, just poorly positioned
he was,
there.
Well, he was there because he was trying to prevent Tom from using his flash to get out of the pit. He was trying to zone so that Tom could walk out. Unfortunately, that turned out to be a pretty poor decision because Tom should have just committed to flashing earlier and just gone ahead and used that ability over the wall, and that way Wolf could have been down more close to Tribrush.
Yeah,
they got a little bit greedy about that summoner, I think.
Getting those assists onto Coco in Space is certainly nice early on for CJ. Although a nice little CS lead for Bang out of all that. Well, that said, CJ's still up in gold by about 500 early on, which is pretty nice.
Just the first blood gold, really.
Yeah, that's about it.
A
little bit in the top lane. But not a lot otherwise. So, action-packed start, but things should be calming down a little bit more now.
MaRin with the longsword. It's like we may see a more of an offensive build here.
Do you think it'd be just like Hex Drinker into something a bit more tanky then?
Could be Brutalizer.
Oh. Oh yeah, I suppose against Hecarim you wouldn't really need the Hex Drinker.
I don't know. We'll see what he decides to do. Could be Hex Drinker, but could be just a Brutalizer into tank build as well. We've seen that popular among Gnar players previously.
Sure enough. And we've seen the frozen mallet too a couple times recently as well, haven't we?
Yeah, a lot in China too. They
Yeah.
really like that frozen mallet start. I'm not so wild about it because I think that, yes, it's great for lane bullying, but it doesn't give you very many options in terms of team fighting until you get basically like 3 core items actually. So I think it's not worth it because you give up too much team fight presence early on in the game.
We'll see what MaRin decides to go with. MaRin is kind of the preeminent Gnar player in Korea right now.
He does do frozen mallet first. It's not that he hasn't done that on Gnar either.
He could.
I'm not a fan of it because, like I said, I feel like it limits you strategically, but it can be used well as long as you can continue to push turrets, continue to punish your opponent in split push.
Well, I think after last game, SKT, it might not be so surprising if they prioritize pushing lanes and pushing turrets, just kind of keep what happened.
Yep.
Keep from what happened last game to happen again.
Yeah, well, in this game too, since CJ picked basically the exact same composition, except for swapping the Nautilus for the Janna, you could theoretically just do what CJ did and push these lanes early on and never let up. And the frozen mallet would allow you to do that. So perhaps in this particular circumstance, when you only have the Sivir there as the ranged wave clear, that may in fact be a very good idea.
That makes sense.
You just have to know if you're going for the frozen mallet first on the Gnar, what exactly you want to accomplish with it.
Well,
I mean, with the longsword first, we're not going to see probably the frozen mallet first, but this is it's interesting to talk about.
Yeah. Well, I mean, we've seen Gnar built a surprisingly large, number of different ways actually this season.
All right, MaRin.
Ambition coming in. MaRin could be in a little bit of trouble here. Has his flash though. Nice explosive cast from Ambition. MaRin in a lot of trouble. Doesn't get a chance to go Mega Gnar before Shy takes him out.
Yeah. Actually
Great
opting
gank.
not to hop out at that moment, and then immediately Ambition starting to harass the blue buff, just being as annoying as possible, knowing that he has that top lane advantage.
He got it. He smote it away.
Yes, he did. He managed to nail it. They tried to get it, but Xerath without that blue buff, awfully nice. So Ambition coming up with 2 big plays right in a row.
How did Ambition get this good as a jungler? It really is insane, the amount of progress he's made in the second half of the season.
I mean, he's a smart player. That's something we've always known about him ever since he was a mid laner. And being a veteran for this long, you have a good sense of where you can be on the map in the game. And it took him a little bit to adjust to the jungle, but now he really is able to play in a very conservative style in terms of making these very low-risk plays and knowing where he has to be on the map, but he can still push an advantage. So nicely done there. Picks up the kill for his top laner, and then follows through with a blue buff deny on his Xerath. Very important.
Yeah.
All right, MaRin's actually just going for Warden's Mail now. He's definitely not going to commit.
I think he's going to build full into Randuin's, or he's going to switch it up after this.
I don't know.
Dragon up in 3. And Tom just lurking the brush, but there's a ward right there. Flash in, knocked it away. Tom in a lot of trouble. The Hemo Blight goes down. Another kill for CJ. They are wrecking SKT so hard this game already.
Tom can't be there. They don't have TP. MaRin just TP'd into the top side. There was a ward in that brush and just waiting there. CJ Entus, I mean, that's at best a 4v5 for SK Telecom.
I think it's time to put Benki in again. Sorry, Tom.
Really not doing a whole lot for his teammates this series. Getting caught out a couple of times here.
Yeah, well, CJ picking up that second dragon of the game there first to tie it up. Ahead in gold a little bit because of those early kills. And CJ actually going to have continuously a little bit more of a teleport advantage for a while too.
Yeah.
Oh, in onto Wolf. Wolf with the immediate pulverize though. And yeah, with banging that shield, you're just not going to be able to 2v2 this, I think, right now.
Tom going after Crab.
Yep.
Use Smite, make sure Ambition can't get that one up. MaRin continues to want to play aggressively. Looks like he will be going for the Giants belt next.
All right, well, meanwhile, some action down the bot lane. Wolf taking about half his health in damage. Oh, Tom comes in. These guys. Smite for Smite.
It has been really fun to watch Tom and Ambition in terms of counter-jungling each other in this series. That's been something that Tom actually has been pretty on top of, but
I mean,
Ambition really matching him in on that front, though.
As soon as Tom kind of tightens up his play, he is going to be, I think, one of the better junglers in Korea. I don't feel nervous making a statement like that right now. I feel like this guy's got a pretty bright future.
Yeah, you can really see the difference, though, in terms of veteran status between Ambition and Tom.
Yeah, Tom's got a ways to go, for sure. Good start, but a ways to go. MaRin getting a little bit of farm in the top lane.
Blood Boil Faker. Well, that's the thing that SKT's composition lacks, is that real Blood Boil synergy this game. They don't have that Azir this time around to really make the most of it.
Need to build Trinity Force on Alistar and then just Blood Boil him. Yeah.
I miss Trinity Force top lane Alistar so much, though.
Maybe someday it will be a thing again.
MaRin at least doing work on Shy's tower, if nothing else. And they've mostly waited out the TP advantage that Shy had as well. So SKT may have a bit of an easier time moving forward in this game. Coco starting to move up in terms of that wave clear, though, getting close to that Will of the Ancients. And his Xerath pick hasn't really opened up much. I mean, now we see Coco with a CS lead over Faker as well, even though Coco was getting poked out early on.
Yep. But true enough, gets that Abyssal Scepter, just more or less buys it straight up, and that's actually a pretty nice pickup against SKT this early.
Yes, it will be. Not a lot of damage from SKT's composition. They don't have that Shyvana. They've got the Gnar this game instead, mostly only useful for CC. And Xerath.
Well, on to Tom. madlife lands that hook. Ambition, though, getting stunned by Faker. There's a depth charge used. Faker knocked up, and no response from CJ. Coco down to do a little bit more damage to Tom, but Faker will make it out. madlife has been pretty liberal about using that ult, but it is a pretty cool, quick cooldown on that one.
Yeah, I mean, it might as well if you can make the pick with that, especially on a champion like Xerath. And one of the reasons why Xerath just hasn't been working out for a lot of players is in the tank meta, he just simply can't do enough damage. He's very vulnerable to Hecarim. And due to his total immobility, effectively. And he just can't burst people down in the way he used to be able to before all of these tanks came into the game, and Coco especially is going to be able to do way more persistent damage if he can close the gap into the enemy team on this Vladimir. Now, of course, that was obviously EasyHoon's problem in the last match, and it's very smart for CJ to be on this blue buff again. Faker is a little bit desperate for that at this point in time, and instead they back off, but they deny some CS from Faker in the mid lane and get some damage down onto the tower, even though Faker does secure the blue in the end. They had to use a lot of resources in order to get that, including having Bang sit alone in the bottom side.
Yeah. SKT's comp is like the Death Star right now, you know? It's like really strong, but it has a very obvious exploitable flaw, you know? Xerath is the exhaust port on this Death Star.
The exhaust port didn't do any damage, though, Doa. That's the thing.
No.
Well, but Faker may also not be doing much damage this game. We'll see.
But if you, Coco actually starting to do some, take some damage, rather. Is Faker gonna ult? Nope. Not quite. Meanwhile, a turret goes down in CJ's favor, but we'll see what happens.
It's pretty big, actually. The big difference, obviously, is CJ has those kills. They have the first turret of the game, and they have that gold advantage. So while things were pretty even last time around, SK Telecom, even though CJ picked that same comp with a gold lead, they should be able to overcome some of the tankiness, or at least push a bit harder in the mid game here. Especially Infinity Edge done right now.
True.
And
dragging up in 45 at this point. And I don't know, I'd love to see SKT try to fight this one.
No, I think I think you just give it up, honestly.
I'd love to see him try because I just don't know how it's going to work.
Yeah.
Eating wards. Delicious.
Tower down finally for MaRin. Shy's going to get there, but
yeah, not the greatest time for the Gnar ultimate too, so.
No, certainly not. And Shy also chunking him out.
Oh boy, yep. MaRin has to hop away.
Here we go. Scuttle Crab to CJ. They don't have good vision around the backside of the pit right now. Make him a little bit more reluctant to start this immediately. And Faker and Bang have to poke CJ off. They're going to do work. Medjai Soul Stealer onto Faker. Okay, we're all in, buddy.
Nice, nice. I like it.
That's so dangerous.
I like the confidence, you know?
Against a Gragas who can knock you in, and then you give the follow-up.
Oh, double knock-up. Ambition coming back in for a stun. There's the explosive cast use. Here comes a teleport from CJ. They grab Wolf yet again. Tom trying to just disrupt things, but he's going to get killed. Oh, boy, there's another kill for Ambition. And SKT already pushed back. Faker doing some damage, but not a ton.
No TP from MaRin.
Not really, no. MaRin's still way up there, and SKT, they have to let this one go, right?
MaRin is
okay.
Up. They're going to try. They're going to try a 4v5.
Dragon a bit low. Well, CJ's going to grab the Dragon. They're going to go on to Bang right away. There's the knockup. Bang a little bit low. Wolf push back in. He's going to get taken out. MaRin with a huge Gnar ultimate. Can they do anything about this, though? No, a double kill for Coco. And there goes Faker. Faker manages to get the kill on Ambition. And meanwhile, MaRin gets into the back lines trying to get a kill onto Shy, but it's not going to work. Nice grab from madlife, and Shy picks up yet another one. And that was a 4-for-1 and a Dragon in favor of CJ.
And a triple kill for Coco as well as he got into the back line. SKT, they didn't want to port while MaRin didn't have the Gnar ult up. It looked like coming in there. And then, as soon as they did, of course, it was already a 4v5. Faker out of mana at this point as well, so limited amount as to what he can actually do in this fight. And look at Coco, gets the angle, great flash from space over the wall to target the very vulnerable Xerath. And all of his peel was gone at that point. MaRin had already used his ult, so MaRin gets taken down in the end. Oof. SKT, their TP usage has not been anywhere near as on point tonight as CJ Entus is.
Certainly. Well, and again, I mean, we saw just about how useful that Xerath is in a team fight. Yeah, he got a kill onto Ambition, but overall, he didn't do a whole lot. You know, I mean, he wasn't able to follow up on that big ultimate from MaRin.
He had no mana.
Yeah, and he had no backup, really, too.
I mean, they chose to take that 5v4. It was just simply a very bad decision.
I mean, also, the entire first half of the season, they were very heavily criticizing Pickman, and for good reason, and for reasons like we're seeing right here tonight. I'm a little bit surprised to see it come back in such a crucial match when it's been gone for so long, but
trying
it's
to
hurting
set
him just
something
the
up
same
here.
now.
MaRin is going to be quite small in just a moment.
It's a 2v3, though. Even with Wolf there, yeah, he's zoned out. I don't know. I don't think that this is going to turn into anything for SKT.
No, it's a pretty large lead now for CJ, and that's what they need.
Well, CJ's winning this one harder than they were winning game number 1 at this point.
And I think that having the Xerath instead of the Azir against this comp just gives them not as good of a disengage option.
Yeah.
The way we're seeing this unfold. But honestly, most of it is just SK Telecom not fighting 4v5. That's what caused that big loss.
On to MaRin. There's the ult. MaRin feared. There's the Hemoplague as well, too. This should be a pretty easy kill once that goes off. Gnar pops up, though. There's a stun on to Shy. I still don't think MaRin's escaping, even with that ult. Nope. Shy claims another one. And CJ continues to push down this mid lane at the same time.
Well, you can see CJ just going from lane to lane to lane right now, trying to see what advantage they can take. Faker out of mana again. At least he has the blue buff this time, but it's a tier 2 over to CJ.
And here's that great closing that we're seeing from CJ again. I mean,
and it's CJ continues just to take man advantage fights over and over and over again this game, and that's why they're able to succeed with this composition where SK Telecom failed.
Oh, Shy recalling in the Krug pit. Oh, Ambition actually grabbed that buff too.
Yes, he did.
Wow, Tom has really not been able to
tower down as well.
Tower. Wow.
They committed to trying to fight right there at the red buff and got punished for it by a tower. SK Telecom just not playing objectives very well tonight, surprisingly.
Yeah, I know. This is Well, it's disappointing. This is such a different SK Telecom than we've seen. This, I mean, SKT came into this undefeated, right, in the second half of the season. So where is that team, and who are these guys now? And I think a lot of it, you know, is in picks and bans. The old problems have apparently decided to show up again here in game number 2.
I don't think we've seen a single Xerath win since Cinderhulk was released.
I don't think we're going to see a Xerath win unless it's a bit of a fluke.
Yeah, not with this level of deficit in the game either.
Yeah. It's really looking like SKT is going to find themselves in that classic 0-2 position in a best-of-5, and we have seen them come back and win those in the past, but they're really going to need to make some changes. You have to think back, though, that you know, to the finals from 2013 in summer, and although that was a different team, it was a situation where SKT just looked like they were beaten. There was nothing they could do against their opponent's strategy, and they still found a way to come back then. Yeah,
they mixed it up pretty substantially in that third game of picks and bans of that series that you're referencing, and
yep.
You know, it is relevant because we're dealing with the same coach, so.
Yeah, true, I suppose.
See how many tricks Coma has up his sleeve. This Xerath, though.
Yeah, not working out too well. Coco just really wants to delay that recall, but Wolf has got Faker's back. No worries. Coco, though. Wow.
He's body blocking the ward.
Wow.
What a jerk.
Why not, man? Why not?
He's got that sustain, and of course, Nunu not going to do much damage with autos, so.
Hey, another turret up in the top lane. Yeah, Shy is just continuing to be the most dominant top laner in Korea right now.
I think you ban, it's questionable too, their bans. You look at the Shyvana ban, you're like, well.
Azir ban. Oh, here we go, action down there. Huge pulverize. CJ trying to follow it up. They've got such a lead, though. Wolf very, very low. Faker firing from the outside, but already chunked down. They managed to push CJ back. Shy not using his teleport there. Neither side deciding to move down, and with Dragon coming up in 5, looks like CJ's going to secure another one. All they needed to do was just push SKT back, and that's exactly what happened.
CJ has been using this comp so much better from SK Telecom, just skirmishing with it, using that disruption to skirmish with Sivir instead of committing to the big 5v5s where they could get zoned out, where they can get punished by a lot of crowd control from Alistar and from Nunu.
Yep.
More fighting here, but you're not going to find much of anything. And SKT, this is the first time we've actually seen them group this game with Xerath and Urgot to try and poke people off the tower.
Yeah, they might be able to get their second turret of the game here. Tom taking a lot of damage. Nice ult from Ambition. Tom has to flash away. Oh boy, Coco nearly getting blown up there. He might when he comes out. Tom's still low. Shy coming down with the teleport over the top. Yep, and Space gets the first kill out of that fight.
Here we go.
Here comes Shy over the top. Onto Faker, onto Bang. They're going to try to take out MaRin as well too. Shy having to back off. Whoa, madlife coming in with that Q. He's going to take a lot of damage. MaRin suddenly Mega Gnar here too, trying to block the disengage. Tom comes out, and Coco coming in from behind, and Faker might be in a little bit of trouble. MaRin's going to go down in the back lines, and look at this. Coco in space all over Faker. It is over there. In the meanwhile, MaRin trying to just fight off Shy. Jeez, CJ backing off now, but what a lead. They've got 10K, another turret going down.
Just look at the minion wave pressure that we're seeing from CJ Entus. Every time they engage a fight, they immediately have already pushed that minion wave up, so they take a tier 2 off of it in both of the side lanes. Very well played by CJ Entus, and Faker really struggling. That Medjai is getting worth less and less in terms of gold value. As we check this one out, they can't kill Coco.
It was a nice try.
W straight into Zhonya's. They really committed a lot of resources to that, and instead they just get totally baited out. Wolf goes down instantly in that fight, and then they just try and get the hell out of there. Shy doing a little disruption, holding off MaRin, blowing yet another flash, and Faker just not really doing any damage right here. As Coco.
MaRin trying to just save Faker and keep everyone occupied, but Coco and Space are not fooled.
Yep, the heal comes in for that extra speed boost. Faker has no more tools, and it's going to be a Baron attempt.
Baron time for CJ.
Why not? You're 9K gold up.
Yeah, seriously. SK Telecom.
Easy Baron.
Trying to threaten, but Coco's zoning really well. Here comes Wolf. Can he do anything? Sivir ult pop. They're going to go in. Shy. Xerath trying to make something happen, but no. Ambition manages to take it. Faker not able to really chunk anyone down effectively with the Xerath ultimate. And now, empowered recall. And CJ in a prime position to take game 2 in style. 12,000 gold ahead now.
Coco doing great this game.
Yeah, no kidding.
We've seen his Vlad before, and he has been, I think, the best Vlad player we've seen in Korea. Knows the limits of the champions really well, and Coco plays Vlad a little bit differently than a lot of the Vlad players do as well. He really likes to tower dive. We've seen him tower dive people 1v1 and get kills. He's pretty darn aggressive with this champion. Whereas a lot of players want to, like we saw EasyWho in that last game, want to try and get in for the big AoE damage in 5v5s. How has Coco been playing it? Nope, this game it's been split pushing and tower diving in conjunction with space the entire time.
And look at this, it's going to get CJ another turret in the mid lane, maybe even the top lane as well too. Putting that parent buff to work. And we have not seen such a total demolition of SK Telecom for the entire second half of the season. This is pretty impressive from CJ.
They really came in tonight. And where do you go with your SKT? They show that they can use this comp that SKT failed to wield properly.
Yeah, they need a new plan. And they're going to go in onto MaRin. MaRin going Mega Gnar, but going to get taken out very quickly anyway. There's going to be an inhibitor. Exhaust onto Coco as he goes farther back into the SK Telecom base. And the first inhibitor of the game will fall in top lane. Meanwhile, mid lane turret taken out. What does SKT do? There's the Sivir ultimate pop. Space and the rest of CJ. They want to fight this one. Tom backing away. Bang and Wolf trying to do something, but there goes another inhibitor. They grab Bang. Here comes Shy over the top. A little bit of a fear. They catch Tom. Tom goes down. And CJ is ready to close this one out. Man. It's not going to be long now.
No, it won't be. That's for sure. And CJ, this will be their 11th consecutive win. We're actually getting into the territory of CJ Blaze from Champion Spring back in 2013, where they had that big 13-game win streak going into the finals.
Yeah.
They did lose those finals, but it was very surprising that they did.
They did, indeed. And that was Blaze as well, too. Okay, here we go. The final fight. Wolf getting a nice knock up here. MaRin trying to make something happen. He is going to be Mega Gnar soon. SKT up. This might be an opportunity here. MaRin so low already, though. There goes inhibitor number 3. And MaRin's going to get taken out. Goodbye, Space. Whoa, Space not getting the kill quite yet.
Methodical, though. Take down every last inhibitor.
Yep.
Then you can make your final push into the base. Look how much money they have. Holy cow.
Yeah. Wow. Well, what do you say? I mean, CJ has just been so good lately. But the thing is that they're so much better every match we've seen them.
Yeah.
They just, every time they face a stronger opponent, they've increased in power that much, you know?
Yeah, I feel like something's going on with the comms of SK Telecom, though, in this series, because it just, MaRin has not been very well coordinated with the rest of the team.
Well, you wonder how much of a role Benki plays in that, and the lack of him might be hurting here. Space comes in with that Sivir ultimate. Nice grab on the Wolf from madlife. That's going to be an easy kill. And CJ, they're looking like they're ready to end this one. Big Gnar ultimate, but it only gets CJ closer to killing everybody. Position reversal used by Bang. There goes Tom. Bang trying to poke, but who are you going to kill? Oh, goodbye. Ambition takes him out. And so, if the SK Telecom base is the Death Star Trench, Luke Skywalker and the CJ Alliance is coming in to take it down. There goes the Nexus, and CJ is going to go up 2-0 in this best of 5. GG.
Very surprising results so far. CJ Entus high fives between Coach Sun and Shy in the booth. And look at that. High fives all around. CJ on the cusp of 3-0ing their opponent in what would be a pretty substantial upset.
Wow, and that would be incredible. I mean, coming into this, we knew that CJ had the potential to beat SK Telecom. They certainly were looking good in the meta, but we didn't expect them to play this well. This is a step above anything we've seen from them in years.
Yeah,
literally
that's true,
years.
but also SK Telecom looking really discombobulated tonight. We've seen a little bit of trouble in terms of TP communication with MaRin. Tom has been caught out several times, and kind of showing his rookie status right here, and then of course, Faker comes in on a champion that I frankly just don't think is good in the current meta and can't do anything.
I can't believe they picked Xerath. I don't know. Hashtag just coma things. Poor Faker.
It just hasn't been a winning strat for SK Telecom this season, even when Xerath was good.
Yeah. It has not been a win. They have not gotten wins with this for like 3 months now. It's time to give up the Xerath. It's time to not play this one anymore. But CJ, 1 win away from moving on to face the GE Tigers in the Champions Spring Finals. SK Telecom has been down 0-2 in these situations before. Can they pull another miracle comeback? When we return, we will see if they can do just that, because right now it's looking a bit rough.
That's right, and SKT will be on red side again. They did select that for Game 3.
Well, if they've got some sort of trick up their sleeve, now's the time to pull it out. I think we're going to see Bengi back in. You know, I think Tom's great for where he is in his career, but I think you need to bring in the veteran.
Yeah, I agree with you, actually. Tom hasn't been making the safest plays, and Ambition's been punishing him.
Well, when we come back, Game 3, can CJ take it home 3-0, or does SK Telecom begin the comeback? When we return, we'll find out. Don't go anywhere.